Merry meet! This is Olivia from the Circle of Sycamore Star, and I wanted to do this video on balancing our paths, and I think this is going to be a common kind of video series for our group because it's something that we have to take very seriously and work really hard to do. If you have read our website and have watched our introduction videos, you'll know that we as a group have a dual path. We all practice within Kemetic Orthodox in some way. We all have an Egyptian path. It can be eclectic. Well, I guess we're all very eclectic anyway. Kemetic Orthodox plays into that. So with the Egyptian African religion, we also have to balance it with Celtic traditions and other eclectic pagan lifestyles. For example, with me, I also incorporate some Greek and Hindu deities into my work, so it can get very confusing. My path is primarily split into two, although it goes on beyond that. So I have my Egyptian practice and I have a kind of Welsh Celtic practice. I'm living in Wales, and so this seems the best way to go about it. When you're living in a country, it's kind of very difficult to ignore the deities that are around you. I'm sure if I lived in Greece, I would be primarily with the Egyptian and the Greek deities, but I'm in Wales, and so it's with the Welsh, and so I'm currently in the process of working my way out, trying to figure out how to balance the paths. So I thought I'd quickly show you my altar. I've shown images of my altar on other channels, well, on my other channel before. I thought it had a place on this channel to show you the combination of paths that I have. So to start, this is my altar. I go to a university, and so I shouldn't really have candles, but this is, I only have room for one altar, which can be tricky when you're doing a very eclectic and dual path. But my altar contains different themes of different cultures. So, as you can see, this is an Egyptian, three Egyptian images, images of the goddess Nut and Osiris. These are my patron deities. I don't exactly have a patron deity within the Welsh pantheon or other pantheons. I do have my favourite though. In the Welsh, I rather like Ceridwen. I like the Celtic Kononos. And with the Greek, I rather like Gaia and Selene and Aphrodite and so on. So these are my patrons, and I put them at the forefront on the wall just so they can overlook the altar. Then you come down and you see this. This is my Wheel of the Year that you may have seen on my other channel. This is a kind of, I guess it would be more Celtic based. The images of the goddess on here are, you know, they're not Egyptian, as you can tell. They're not African. I guess, I don't know, they're Western at any rate. This reminds me of Celtic and things like that. Although this one actually reminds me of Hindu, although it's hard for you to tell. So let's not go too far in the future and stick with Beltane. So here you already see that I have an Egyptian influence and this European pagan Wheel of the Year thing going on, which is big part of my practice. This is then in front my god and goddess image, as well as a candle holder, and I light the candle when the god and goddess are invoked. And they, as you can see, they're linked as one. This is a Celtic image. You can see the Celtic crosses at the bottom, and just the iconography is, again, not African. So even though my primary deities up here are Egyptian, my god and goddess iconography is Celtic. And this has never caused me any problem. Doesn't confuse me in the slightest. Nut and Osiris are not lovers, so when I'm invoking them, this is merely a representation. And, you know, if I was to invoke Isis and Osiris, then perhaps I would invoke it with this image, if you know what I'm saying. I have a bell, which isn't really associated with Egyptian practice, but I love my bell and I'll always use it. It's a really good way of affirming your goals and desires. This is on the female side of my altar. although it's not completely divided. I have a blue goldstone here. I usually have another one, a prettier one actually. You can't really see it because it's night. And this represents Newt. I use crystals a lot for my representation. And here I have a bracelet which depicts Hathor. I can't actually wear it because it reacts with my skin, but I have this here, and as you can see, it's Egyptian. So again, you can see a complete contrast going on here, and obviously my canopic jars are Egyptian too, and they represent the elements for me. The 4 elements that are of Western tradition rather than Egyptian tradition, but they are the 4 sons of Horus. Inside them I have, you can see, an elemental symbol to represent. This one is obviously earth, water, Duamutef for fire, Kebsnu for air, and they all have that. Then I have a jug and a little cup. This is for pouring libations, which is an Egyptian practice to do. Not 100% certain on Celtic practices, but I don't know if they do that. I know the Greeks do it. Or the Greeks prefer to really burn stuff, I think, I'm not sure. Obviously this is, now this is actually a combination of Western symbolism and Egyptian. This is a symbol of the Nile goddess, which obviously is an Egyptian symbol, but then you have the moons and the swirl, which are more, you know, neo-pagan influence, and this is obviously my chalice. This is my cauldron, oh, and it's got some wishes in there still. And my cauldron is obviously a, you know, more, well, it's not an Egyptian influence, it's more, this is my cauldron of Ceridwen, which is my getting really confused now. This is my Welsh influences. I have some beautiful rose quartz here, my tarot cards in there. Salt in a shell, that doesn't really associate with anything other than earth and purification. I have another shell here, which this is currently holding things that are relevant to my life right now. I've got my lucky exam necklace, a fluorite for concentration, and a little, you can't really see it, it's got hieroglyphs on and it says for happiness, so I put them all there to keep that going. This was a really lovely gift that I got from Mandy, the shoe whisperer. I wish the light could do it justice, but it's a peacock feather and it's gorgeous, and I use this as kind of a broom. That sounds really strange, but I use it to kind of smudge, like cleanse the air and the space around me like you would just sweeping with a broom. I do it with a feather. And yeah, this doesn't really associate with either, but the you know, that kind of just fits in. And I have my wand. I have, obviously I have a crystal grid going on for my exams. Again, you know, this is, some of the things on here don't relate to either culture, they just relate to a practice that I do. I have more crystals here. I have this. This is to remind me to take care of the earth. For it's my Beltane promise. A bowl of crystals and my Pasanga jar for my intent and wishes. Incense. This is my oil and it is dedicated to the Egyptian pantheon. The oils that I use at the moment are for that. And my working candle. Lastly, I have 2 pieces of bloodstone for Osiris. So you see Nut and Osiris' stones there, and an Egyptian tarot card. This is a very, I won't go into it, this is something very serious for me, a big lesson that has been haunting me for a while now, and I need to really look into it. So, I know that was quite long, but this is my altar, obviously, and you can clearly see a really big blend of the 2 cultures here, with the Egyptian motifs and the Celtic ones. You know, I've blended it quite well and it really does work for me. Some people would think this is such an energy clash, but it really does work. The point of this altar, it is an altar that I work with and it is for my spirituality. If I had my own way, I would have 3 altars if I had my own way. I'd have my working altar. I would then have an Egyptian shrine for my beloveds and my parents, and working with Egyptian practices and traditions. And then I would have a kind of a Celtic altar, or, you know, a general one. Or to be honest, really I'd only have 2 actually. I would have the Egyptian one, and then I'd have my personal one, and actually my personal one would have the Welsh and the Greek and, you know, things like that, because that's what's going on in my life right now. The Egyptian one will always be with me, but that's a very different practice, whereas the, you know, I feel like the others are more eclectic, Wiccan, neo-pagan style of things, so they can all blend together. The Egyptian one kind of sticks out. But what I want to say in this video, really, the point is to show you how I do blend things and how it just does work for me. I'm going to do a series of videos, I think all of us will, about how we further blend our practices. But this is to show you how you can do an altar that accommodates both practices, really. I would separate the Egyptian one if I could, but I don't need to, and I'm not able to. This is an altar for myself, for my personal spirituality, for me and my working with God and Goddess, and I fit everything around it. So I wanted to show you that, and I hope that was kind of interesting and inspiring for you if you're confused about how you can possibly make your altar fit more than one purpose. You have to kind of make it work for you, and if you're not comfortable with it, then you need to figure something else out. I'm quite comfortable with this one, and I can make it work for myself. I have so many statues and iconography. Like, I've had to put my my Bast and Sekhmet up here. I have a Aphrodite statue, Osiris, big Osiris statue, Isis statue. Everything's at home because I couldn't bring it. And when it comes to incorporating them, that would be tough to fit on an altar, and then I'd have to separate them and put them elsewhere. For now, this works perfectly fine for me, and I think it's rather beautiful. So I know that was quite a long video, but thank you for watching, and I really hope that was useful to you. Blessed be.